name is Jayant. Welcome to Maths with Jayant. In this video, we are going to talk about circles. In this video, we are going to discuss the parts of a circle, the basic parts of the circle. And in our next video, we will discuss the circumference and area of a circle. So without wasting time, let's get started. So, first of all, what are circles? Circle is actually a 2D shape. It is a plane figure, so you need to show it on a plane. You cannot hold a circle. It is a round figure. So, a circle is actually a round figure, a 2D round figure, but it will only be a circle if there is a point over here. Let's name it point O. If any point on the circle, I take a point A or I take a point B, I take a point C on this boundary, all should be equidistant from the center point, which is O in this case. No matter, so a circle is a 2D geometrical shape if the points on the circle are equidistant from a center point of the circle. Okay, so could I call this a circle? No. Why? Because I take a center point. This length is much more than this, right? So this is not going to be a circle. Only if the distances are equidistant, then only it will be a circle. Now, have you ever wondered why circles are important? A circle is important because of its abundance. We see circles everywhere. From the coins that we use, to the bangles that we wear, to the sellotapes that we use, to the lids of boxes, to the rings that we use, to the plates that we eat food on, to the wheels of cars, vehicles, bikes, etc. All are circles. Therefore, the importance of circles is because of its abundance. We see circles everywhere. Now you pause this video and try looking at circles around you. So now we've discussed what circles are. Like this is not a circle and this is a circle. So now let us discuss the parts of a circle. So now let us discuss the parts of a circle. So you can already see I've drawn a big circle over here. And over here we'll be noting down the parts one by one. So, first of all, look at this point. Due to this point only our circle was made. This was the origin of the circle, right? Because this is the point from which all points on the circumference of the circle are equidistant. All points on the circle are equidistant from this point, right? This is our original point, our main point. We name this point the center or the origin of the circle. So, our first part is center, or we also call it origin. So, now we understood what center or origin is. Now let us do something. Let me make a line from the center of the circle to a point on the circumference, say A. Okay, this point. Now look, this distance is the distance between our center and the point on the circumference, right? This line which connects this is called the radius. This line is called the radius. Its spelling is R-A-D-I-U-S. For radius we denote it by a small r. Okay. So look at this radius. I made a radius OA. Let me do another thing. I'll make another radius like this. I'll connect this to this point. So now this becomes length OB. Can I call this also the radius? Yes, I can. Why? Because it connects the center to any point on the circumference. And we need to know, let me make another radius, this. I joined it to C. Now you see, all of these are radius, right? All these are radii. The plural of radius is radii. Plural RADII. So all these are radii and the length of all of this will be equal because the length between the center and any point on the circumference is equal, right? Therefore all radiuses will be equal. So in this case OA equal to OB equal to OC. Okay. Now let's move on to our next part. Now let me make any 2 points on the circle. Name A and B. Okay. So I made 2 points A and B on the circle, on the boundary of the circle, right? Now I ask you to join these 2 points. So you will join it like this. See, we connected points A and B. Okay. Did you notice another thing? This line passed through the center of the circle. Right? We saw that as well. So, if there is a line that connects 2 points on the circumference of the circle as well as passes through the center, such a line is called the diameter. D-I-A-M-E-T-E-R. Diameter. This whole length, this line AB is called diameter. Okay, now I'll ask you a question. Can I say that this length OB is our radius? Can I say OB is the radius? Yes, I can. How? Because it connects the center to a point on the circumference. This is just our length. Similarly, I could say OA is a radius as well, right? And now look, radius and radius. We see that a diameter, 2 radiuses are making the diameter. And we also know that radiuses are equal. So we could say that 2 times radius gives us diameter. And we could say another thing. Half of the diameter is equal to radius. We could say both these things, right? And divide the diameter by 2. Half of the diameter gives us this length, which is our radius. So this is the relationship between the radius and the diameter. The diameter is represented by small letter d, like how you can already see. Now let us discuss our next part, that is the circumference of the circle. Yes, right now, have you heard of the term circumference? What is this circumference? Any idea? Circumference is represented by capital C. So the term circumference of a circle means the length of the boundary of a circle. The length of the boundary of a circle is called the circumference of the circle. In other words, as we know that the circle is a special shape, its perimeter gets a special name called the circumference. So the circumference of a circle, it just means perimeter of a circle. If you don't know what perimeter means, then you can watch my video about perimeter. So perimeter means length of boundary of the circle. So the length of its boundary is called the circumference. Okay. And now let me do some things. I made 2 points A and B on the circumference of the circle, basically on the circle. A and B on the circumference of the circle. As I did this, our circumference got divided into 2 parts, right? How? See, I divide A as and B. Now we have never got 2 parts. One, this part, which you could see here, another this part. So I made 2 points and that point divided this circumference into 2 parts. And each of this part is given a special name. Okay? Each part of the circumference of the circle. I make another point C here. C over here, and this also gets divided. So each part of the circumference of the circle, each part is called an arc. A-R-C. part is called an arc of the circle. All of these three are three different arcs. Now let us just forget about this C for some time. So now you see that this is a smaller arc, this is a bigger arc, right? So how can I name these arcs, right? So suppose I want to refer to the smaller arc. Now whenever I need to refer to the smaller arc, I will use the term minor, M-I-N-O-R, minor. Minor means small. So for the smaller arc, I'll say minor arc. Any idea what I'll say for the bigger arc? If you're thinking major arc, then you are extremely correct. The bigger arc will be called the major arc. So this is about arc. Now let me just join them. So this is point B and point A. So let me join these parts. Let us forget about the arcs. Now you will use it. So what I did is I made 2 points A and B on the circumference and I joined them. So what is this? Is this line called the diameter of the circle? No, this is not the diameter of the circle. Why? You might say it is connecting 2 points. Yes, it is connecting 2 points. I also won't say wrong. But it is not passing through the center of the circle. Therefore, this is not called the diameter of the circle. So what is this line called? Any line that connects any 2 points of the circle is called chord. C-H-O-R-D. Chord. This line is called a chord. I could make chords randomly. This is also a chord. This is a chord as well. This is a chord as well. Even this is a chord as well. Now, let us name this point P and this point Q. Okay, look at this line POQ or PQ. Now, what can you see? It is passing through the center. But, so this is a diameter, right? You will say it's a diameter. But it is a chord as well. How? Because chord says it just needs to connect 2 points on the circle. Whether it passes through the center or not, it doesn't care. A chord is just any line that connects any 2 points on the circumference of the circle. So POQ, which is a diameter, is a chord as well. And the diameter of a circle, a fact, a diameter is the longest chord of the circle. So this was the diameter. And why is it the longest chord? I try making any other chord. Maybe connect here, here. The longest will be the diameter. You want the new chord, also check this out as well. So this we've discussed about arc and chord and circumference. Now let us move on to our next parts. So now let us draw a random chord. Let us draw a chord P and Q. So I made a chord. As I drew a chord, you immediately saw something. Did you see something? As I drew the chord, the circle got divided into 2 parts. One this part and the other one is this part. The part below, which I'll shade with another color. Yeah. So this is another part. So as we drew the chord, our circle got divided into 2 parts, right? Each of this part is called a segment. Okay? Each of this part is called a segment. S-E-G-M-E-N-T. Now remember, whenever I say segment means a chord divides it. Okay? As I draw a chord, then segments get formed. So for segment, a chord needs to divide it. Okay? Remember that. Now look at both these segments. One is a small part, another is a big one. The smaller segment is called minor segment. And the bigger one is called, yes, the bigger one is called major segment. Major segment. So this is for segments. So whenever a chord divides a circle, the smaller part is called the minor segment, the bigger is called the major segment. The minor and major remain the same. Okay, so this is about segments. So till now we have learnt about segments. And what are segments? If I draw a chord, the area enclosed between a chord and an arc, what does that mean? It's just the same thing. I draw a chord here. So this is the area enclosed by a chord and an arc, the part of the circumference of the circle, right? We've discussed about arc. So this and this is over here which I drew was a minor segment. Now let me ask you a question. What question? Suppose I draw the diameter of the circle. The chord, it passes through the middle. After all, we know that diameter is a chord as well. Now, I got divided into two parts. Which is the minor segment and which is the major segment. Now, over here, both parts are equal, right? So, you can't say minor segment, major segment. And therefore, whenever a diameter divides the circle, each part is called a semicircle. Okay? Each part is called a semicircle. Semicircle. Now let me ask you something. Now, the semicircle is actually what? The semicircle is half of the whole circle, right? This is one semicircle, this is two semicircles. Therefore, the semicircle is one semicircle is occupying half the area of the circle, right? So, semicircle is half of a circle, half of circle. So, this is about semicircles. Now, let us move on to sectors. So, now I told you the term sectors, right? What are sectors? Now, let me ask you something. Is that by drawing a chord, is that the only way of dividing a circle? No, not necessarily. How do we cut a birthday cake? Suppose this is the top of a birthday cake and I am cutting it. Happy birthday to me. Happy birthday to me. So, like this, I have cut the cake, suppose. Now, did you see something? I cut the cake from the center of the circle. So, I made a cut like this, right? Similarly, from here also I made a cut like this. Then it came on one point on the center. I cut from the center and till one point on the circumference. Let's suppose P and Q. So, can I say that each of this is a radius? This is a radius. This is another radius, right? So, once I did that, our circle again got divided into two parts. One this part, right? And other is the bigger part, which you could see over here. The small part which I have shaded and the big part which I have not shaded. So, each of these parts is called a sector. S-E-C-T-O-R. Sectors. Sectors are parts of a circle enclosed between an arc, this PQ, and two radii, right? So over here we use two radii and arc, and in segment it is a chord in an arc, right? Now this part will be called a minor sector as it is the small sector, and the bigger sector is called the major sector. Now we all know that. So this is how we do our naming. So for sector, you can remember either a cake or a pizza slice. Even pizza slices are like this. So now this is about sectors. Now suppose I am a greedy man and I want to cut a big piece of cake. So I will cut like this, suppose, and I got this much big piece of the cake, right? Now, see, again I made two radiuses, two radii, I mean O, P, Q. Now, look at this. both these radii turned out to become perpendicular, right? If the radii are perpendicular to each other, then this part is called a quadrant. Okay. Why so? See, quadrant. Quad refers to 4 actually. Quad 4. Similarly, we have quadrilaterals as shapes. And quadrilaterals means a shape with 4 sides. So quad means 4. Okay. So actually when the radii are perpendicular, then you see that this area is 1/4 of the entire circle, right? Therefore, we call one part of it a quadrant. So there is a new term called quadrant, which is 1/4 of a circle. So we have covered up a lot. We just have last 2 things which are very connected and easy. So our last 2 things are termed secant and tangent. What are they? Actually they are lines. Let us discuss them. Now suppose I draw a line, okay? It is coming inside the circle, goes outside the circle, okay? This is a line. It goes through the circle and it intersects the circumference at 2 points, right? Let us give them names P and Q. So therefore this line PQ is going to be called a secant. Okay. So a line which intersects the circle at 2 points, goes through it. Such a line is called a secant. S-E-C-A-N-T. Now, this could be another secant because it's intersecting the circle at 2 points. Now, let us make another type of a line. Is it always necessary that it will intersect the circle, go through it and come? Not necessary, right? Let me make another line like this. Let us give it the name AB. Now look, it intersects the circumference at one particular point. Right? Let's name it M. It intersects the circumference at one point. Only one point, and does not go through it. It touches it and goes. This type of a line is called a tangent. T-A-N-G-E-N-T. Tangent. So, you understood so many things in today's video. What is the center, radius, diameter, circumference, arc, chord, segment, sector, secant, tangent. There are lots of things. So, let us revise everything just one by one with the help of a figure. So, let's start revising. First, let me ask you, what is going to be the center of this figure? The center of this figure is going to be R. Yes. So, the center of this figure is R. Center. Next, what is the radius of this circle? We have RS as a radius. We could call it radius. Even RQ, RP, these are also radii as well. Why? What the radius is? It connects the center to any point on the circumference of the circle. So, we could say RQ radius and PR radius as well. Then what's the diameter of the circle? We could say that PQ is our diameter of the circle because it connects any 2 points on the circle and passes through the center. And we all know that 2 times radius gives us diameter, which we have already discussed. The circumference is this boundary of the circle. Arc could be a part of it, like we could say SQ is an arc, PC is an arc, PS is an arc. Like that, there are so many arcs. And let us talk about chord. Now, what is a chord in this circle? We could say PQ as the diameter as well as the chord. We know that diameters are chords. And in fact, diameters are the longest chords of the circles. Then even CD, not the whole EF, CD is going to be the chord of the circle. Chord. Just CD. Just EF is not, right? Only C and D. It's connecting 2 points of the circle and just inside it. it's not going upside. Now, what is the segment? Now in this, we know what segment already is, but over here let's not mark it. So if I make the circle and I make a chord here, then both of these parts are going to be segments. This one being the minor segment, this one being the major segment. Then what about sector? In this we could see there is a sector. This area we could say is the sector. Why? Sector is an area enclosed between an arc and two radii, while segment is chord and an arc. Now what about the secant? The secant is going to be the whole F. This whole F is going to be the secant. Secant means it passes through the circle. And this tangent is going to be AB. Right? Now we have covered a lot in this video. You will get very scared by looking at the whole list, but don't worry, you can watch this video again from start to remember all these, right? So hope you understood every single part of the circle in detail. Thank you very much.